Welcome back to Quantum Habits. Today, we are reviewing 7 habits of highly effective people. We will be reviewing habits 4 and 5. Now let's jump into the 4th habit. The 4th habit is to think win-win. And the most important insight I learned from this is you need to develop the abundance mindset in order to be in the right frame of mind for thinking about win-win situations. You really need to be in this abundance mindset. The opposite, obviously, of abundance would be a scarcity mindset. If we look at somebody that is scarcity-minded, they tend to compete, they will hoard information. They tend to think that people are maybe trying to steal something from them. The pie is getting smaller. They fear change and they avoid the risk. Whereas, if we look at someone with an abundance mindset, they tend to be more generous. They will collaborate. There's plenty to go around, so the pie is always getting bigger. There's enough for everybody. They take ownership of change and they embrace risk. So you want to be a person that is abundance-minded as opposed to scarcity-minded. The next insight is that most people don't even think that a win-win situation is possible because they tend to think in dichotomies: strong versus weak, hot versus cold, win versus lose. What you need to do is think that yes, a win-win is possible. But second, the most difficult thing is that you need to have real discipline with yourself to not settle for anything less than win-win. The other insight was that you shouldn't compromise. It should be a win-win or no deal. You need to walk away from the table if there is not a win-win situation, and that is much harder to do than a win-lose situation. And finally, you should always be thinking about these emotional bank accounts that we spoke about earlier before you get into any kind of negotiation. If it's in business or a relationship, you should always be building up that emotional bank account first before jumping into any negotiation, because that's going to make this win-win much easier. Habit 5. Seek first to understand than to be understood. So, most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. They are either speaking or preparing to speak. The most important thing to understand is the sequence of these two expressions. So, seek first to understand and then to be understood. Don't listen with the intent to reply. You don't want to force or coerce. You don't manipulate and persuade people into why your opinion is better than theirs. What you want to be doing is asking the right questions so that you can better enable yourself. Put yourself in their shoes and better understand what it is they want and what their paradigm is. We all live in a subjective world, and we all live in our own little subjective worlds every now and then. Our worlds will collide with one another, and when we try to interact with each other in these little subjective worlds, what we do is we try to interact in an efficient manner. So we're always just thinking about how we can be understood efficiently and have our point of view understood. But if you remember what we said before, we want to be effective with people and efficient with things, and not the other way around. Unless you first seek to understand that person's world, you will not have any influence over that person, and in turn, they will not have any influence over you. Most people interact with others, so they listen, but actually what they're doing is they're thinking in their mind about what they're going to say next, and then they seek to be understood. What this book goes into is explaining this depth of that empathetic listening and understanding what they're getting at before you reply. And then you can seek to be understood. We're going to go into this in a little bit more detail in the next habit, but hopefully that outlined what this means here. Seek first to understand and then to be understood. That's it for today's video. Tomorrow, we will be reviewing habits 6 and 7. Make sure you like and subscribe for more effective habits to make you highly effective.